look at some of our profiles and settings. So coming to the top and clicking on my profile picture, I can actually come and edit my profile, which means I can change the picture or I can change my background here and give it a little bit different view if I'd like. Next, I can come back up here and I can set my availability. This allows me to put my Webex in Do Not Disturb. So for example, if I'm in a meeting or if I need to get some things done, this will silence traffic, meaning messages and potential calls for a set period of time. My calls will go to voicemail. I can also set a status using words and emojis, and I can decide how long I would like that status to be there. So for example, we are training great customers. Then I can go to my settings. From my settings, I have a few options here. For example, I have my general settings, so you can decide if you want others to see your availability and status, or if you're going to be in privacy mode. If your Outlook is integratable with your Webex, you can do so there. You can also decide what your landing screen is, meaning what screen will you see when you open Webex each day. For example, we have it on messaging, but you can put it on contacts, calling, or even meetings. So if I were to change it to calling and hit save, the next time that I log in, it's going to show it as my calls. If I go back to settings, I also can see at the bottom here where I can multitask, meaning that it's going to automatically show my call or when I'm in a meeting, like a picture-in-picture floating so that I can multitask. Your audio and video is set to default. You may need to adjust this depending upon the specs on your computer. You can set your notification, meaning if you would like to have notification preferences for your messages, you can decide all messages only if you're mentioned or have it turned off, and you get to decide what sound it uses. You also can decide if you want to use in-meeting notifications, including joining and leaving, and you can also do specifications for direct calls and a ringtone. Your phone service is automatically connected. Your messaging, you can decide if you'd like to enable spell checking, and you can organize what you see first within your messaging. Your meetings is where your personal room is set up, and this provides you with your link when it's set up. You can look at your joining options, and you can even look at your calling features. For example, do I want my video to automatically turn on when someone is calling me within Webex? I personally do not use that feature, but it is an option, especially if you have a lot of video calls or video meetings. You can also decide if you want your calls to forward to voicemail or if you want your calls to forward to another number. And then we have our additional preferences for your phones. Let's take a look at those for just a moment. So if we were to look at our Webex calling features, we would click that blue link and it would bring us to the call settings. We can see various features for incoming calls, outgoing calls, and our voicemail. For example, do we want to turn on Do Not Disturb so that all of our calls go to voicemail? Do we want to set on any anonymous call rejections and certain forwardings? We also have the ability to set up what our voice email management is. So you can play around with this and make the settings specific to your needs, including, do I want to be emailed, notified when a voicemail comes in, or if I want an additional carbon copy to go to my email address. You can also decide whether you want zero to transfer. We'll talk a little bit more about voicemail in our time together today. So once we go back to our settings here, we can see that we are pretty much finished with those setting options. Okay, so we have that as a feature. We also can see what's new with Webex, and if we need help, we have help options that will take us to the Spectrum Learning Center.